Well, hello friends, welcome to Rewake Video. My name is William and I'm so excited that you are here with me, especially on a new year. And may I say Happy New Year to each and every person who's watching this video and everyone who has supported Rewake Video. As you know, we started last year and now we are moving into monetization and we are growing as a brand. And I want to just appreciate you and thank you for sticking with us and being able to grow with us. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And I hope that this year brings a huge financial growth in your life and your knowledge in terms of investing so that you can be able to have more options than one.
Please note, the audio and video that is used in this creative platform is not and should not be used as financial advice. I'm not registered with FISCA, nor am I a financial advisor.
There's a person who once said that when they were young, they were told by their parents to save money. And as they were saving money growing up, they started to realize that because of inflation and the change of our time and the ups and downs of economy and repo rates and so forth, they started to realize that the most important thing with regards to money is not actually saving. There is saving, like putting your money in a bank, and there is saving in terms of investing. So they realized that in order for my money to work for me, I have to invest it so that I can be able to make more money in the future. So they started changing their financial strategy. They no longer saved the way they were told to save, and they started to invest and inform themselves and grow. And next thing you know, they stopped working because now they started living off the dividends that they were getting. And the person got married and got older, and he left a legacy for their children, and their children were able to multiply the money that he left. So I hope that Rewake Video helps you with the information regarding investing so that you can be able to think outside the box when it comes to making money, salaries, passive income, and also getting dividends and investing and so forth, so that you can know that you have options. When you start working, the first thing that they tell you about is that you need to be able to have a life cover. Another thing they tell you, you have to have a funeral cover. And all those things are just a deficit on your money, and you will never get money back. And now what they're trying to do, these life covers, is just after a couple of years they will bring cash back, because they know that people now are starting to realize that actually it's a bit of a loss. And some life covers, actually, they help you with funeral covers. So they would you will take a life cover, and when I die, my family would get a substantial amount of money, maybe 50 grand to 100 grand, to be able to bury me and buy groceries for the funeral and whatsoever, and caskets, blah blah blah. And after, they would get that life cover that I left for them. So they are trying to be wiser, because they're starting to realize that people now know that this is just a huge deficit, but it works as well. I'm not saying that do not do it. It works as well, especially when it comes to houses. When you buy a house, you need a life cover. But at the same time, I want us to think outside the box. What's your next move for 2023? What's your next move for 2023? I was thinking just last week that for 2023, I want to be able to invest a lot of money so that the next 5 years, not the next 5 years, the next 2 to 3 years, I don't invest as much as I did this year. So what I want to do, for instance, I would put 2,000 rands towards my TFSA, or I would just invest in Satrix, as we spoke about, Satrix Top 40 Companies Index, also Satrix, this EFT that deals with property. I would take 2,000 and maybe split it between the two, on Satrix Top 40 and Satrix Property Index, and make sure that, for the next 12 months, 1,000 rand would go to Satrix top 40 index, and the other 1,000 rand will go to Satrix portfolio index portfolio. So these ETFs for the next 12 months, I'll be having in December, I'll be having 6,000 on the other one and 6,000 on the next one. And now what Satrix does is that they pay their dividends quarterly. So quarterly next year, I'll be getting dividends. Okay. So maybe my next move would be that, knowing that next year I won't invest 2,000 rand, I would invest maybe 1,000 rand. 500 would go to that to that top 40 Satrix, and the other 500 would go to that property Satrix. I'm talking about ETFs. So in my mind, I'm thinking easy equities. So you can use straight, you can invest straight to Satrix, or you can talk to your bank and they would be able to help you out, or you can have you can invest in stocks, you can invest in bundle portfolios and so forth. But in my mind right now, when I think about my next move for 2023, is that, maybe if I could invest in top 40 Satrix and be able to invest in a property Satrix, and next year when I get dividends quarterly on both of these ETFs, I would just reinvest it towards the ETFs. And now I would do the same thing. Maybe I would cut down. This year every month it will be 2,000 rand every month, but next year it will be like 1,000 rand. Then 500 would go towards another ETF or another stock or another portfolio, and another 500 would go to another ETF, stock, or portfolio, so that I don't stop. Because sometimes, especially currently I'm going towards 33, and we have debt and we have cars and we have houses and so forth, and it's a bit hard to invest. But what I'm trying to teach you is that take what you can afford and just be committed and invest and make sure that you get dividends that are regulating or reinvesting towards whatever you wanted to invest in, so that next year by December, when you look at your portfolio, your investment portfolio, you'd be like, okay, now I see what I have done. I see the profit that I have made. I want to continue on this journey for the next 10 years. And say, for instance, you can afford to invest 2,000 rand for the next 10 years. It's a lot of money. It's the same as saying that, okay, I'm saving 2,000 rand in a solid bank account, and after 10 years you would get your, what is it 200 or 20,000, you would get your money, your lump sum, and you get excited. You is it 200? I think it's 200. You get your money and you get excited, you get happy, versus investing it. I think when you put it in a solid bank account, there will be charges if it's not in a solid bank account, and in your what do you call those 30-day period, so that you can be able to invest. Then if you want to withdraw, they give you 30 days. You would use that as well. Maybe they will give you 3%, that's close to nothing. But if you go towards the investment route and say that I'm choosing to educate myself with easy equities or IQ options or so forth, and in so doing, you would be able to make sure that, okay, in 10 years time, I'd be able to have invested on, saved this much of an amount and invested this much of an amount, and be able to get this much of an amount. So that's how I want you to think big when it comes to your money, so that you can be able to have options, like that, okay, there is a solid bank account, savings account, there's an interest account, there is a TFSA, there is investing, there is forex, there is so forth, so that you can be able to have the knowledge. But when you start thinking in lines of for instance, TFSA, you would know that TFSA, it limits you a bit. Maybe your ETFs would be top 40 Satrix. You do the same thing. You take 2,000 rand and you take 1,000 rand, you put it on your top 40, and 1,000 rand on your Satrix portfolio property. If it's not the case, then you make your research when it comes to stock. then you go to stock and you look at the kinds of companies that are running property. Like for instance, ABSA has a property portfolio. You look into that and say, okay, let me invest in this stock. And you would go and search for stuff like Standard Bank. You'd go and search for stuff like, we always buy cars and we get loans from NetBank. You would look into that and say, okay, I want to be able, I'm paying NetBank, but I want to be able to get something from NetBank. So I would invest in that. You would invest in your ShopRite, your Pick and Pay, things that you use. But the main aim of this video is to be able to, give you your next move. Give you your next move. So my personal next move would be 2,000 Rand a month for the next 12 months, and 1,000 Rand will go to Satrix top 40 companies, and 1,000 Rand would go to Satrix property index. So I don't know about your passions and your goals, because I'm passionate about property, I'm passionate about stocks, I'm passionate about all those things. But at the same time, when you look into your ETFs, you'd find that the thing that I'm passionate about, for instance, retail, it's there. The thing that I'm passionate about, like bond, is there. Property there. All those things, they are there. And before you make a major move in your life, you'd say, okay, before I get married, let me invest. Before I buy a new car, let me invest. Before I get a new house, let me invest. Before I do a particular thing that is major in my life this year, let me invest. And I would spend 12 months focusing on that investment, working so hard to invest, that next year, when it comes to new resolutions and so forth, I know that my finances are set. For instance, if you are earning maybe 30,000 Rand and you are living alone, say you are 29 and you are living at home, or you are living alone and you have an extra cash of about 5 to 6,000 Rand, you don't have a house, you are renting, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I want to be able to rent for the next 2 years, and you just got this apartment, or you've been living there for quite a number of years, and you're saying to yourself, okay, I need to get a house, I need to buy a car, and you have an extra 5 to 6,000 Rand. You would say to yourself, okay, let me stop thinking in terms of deficit, because getting a car and getting a bond is a deficit as well. So you would think, okay, let me invest. Let me get this easy equities. Let me get let me go and see a financial advisor. Let me talk to someone so that they can be able to advise me on how I can invest my money for the next 12 to 24 months before I buy a house, before I buy a car, so that by the time I buy them, I am able to afford even more. Because you have dividends that are coming, and maybe when you get that car, you put it into stuff like Bolt, you have another passive income that is coming. You put it on stuff like Uber Eats, you have another passive income coming, and now when you look, you see that, okay, I can afford this car, I can afford this house, and now my life is improving. Then you can think that, okay, I can get married now, I can buy that house now, I actually can pay this car off now, without going into your pockets, your coffers, or your you're getting a loan and so forth, and not hurting your investments, because usually when you're desperate, you end up taking from your investments. So what's your next move for 2023? Talk to me on the comments below. Let's talk about this and see, advise each other and see how we can grow together in terms of finances. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please tune in for more videos this year. I'm hoping to be able to invite people and be able to have talks about investment and how we can assist you and give you more information in terms of the tools that you need in order for you to be able to be a better investor. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.